Just before this video starts, I do want to mention that I have a Discord server. Join if you want to, suggest new video ideas, or come hang out with us. And if you like what you see here today, you'll like pretty much everything else on my channel, so why not subscribe? Thanks. Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about my favorite game, Destiny 2, which has seen better days, especially when considering we just had an expansion release on Tuesday, and it seems like not a lot of people ended up signing on. The numbers from what I can remember on Steam didn't even hit 100,000, whereas with Lightfall, one of the worst rated expansions in Destiny 2, hit I believe 314,000, and it was almost the same thing with the final shape, which honestly would explain the sub 10-minute load-in times on day one, which I was very appreciative of. It allowed me to get in and start playing the new activities and stuff very quickly, except for Crucible. I guess I really couldn't get into comp, but somewhere I knew deep down that it wasn't going to be the best thing for the game, simply because I knew that usually it's never like this. Besides that, a lot of people have been giving this DLC backlash, and rightfully so, from things from the campaign all the way to what they've recently done, which is honestly just stupid, that being them taking away a power grinding cheese that players have been exploiting for the past I believe 2 days. We'll get into that in a second, but let's start off with one thing that I personally have been thinking of during the campaign, and it's something that people have been speaking out against, which was the campaign structure and how it's different than years prior. Usually in Destiny, when we get a campaign, we get a legendary and a brave version, which do make a return for this expansion, but typically alongside the campaign, we do get some sort of power up, a super ability, or aspects to other super abilities that already exist, which we all knew going in wasn't going to be the case for Edge of Fate, and that with Bungie's new content strategy, things were going to look a little bit different. However, what I didn't expect to see is that the campaign took a lot longer and felt like it dragged on far longer than it really needed to. Now, this isn't a story or narrative driven complaint, it's more of just like what the campaign seemed to be centered around gameplay wise, which was Matter Spark, as well as Matter Morph, the different abilities that you get on Kepler, the new planet. These were a part of puzzles that you had to do on the planet to get through the campaign, and honestly, Glad said it best when he put it like this: I'm sorry, but I just can't understand how someone can enjoy doing the same exact cannon puzzle and ball mechanic mission after mission and the same fetch-like quest for a campaign without going to sleep. I really couldn't agree more, especially on that last part. I haven't played Destiny for that long in a while, not like I did on launch day, and came away from it feeling like, damn, I gotta get away from this. Or that and having an unsatisfactory feeling. In years past, when I complete a legendary campaign, even Lightfall, I felt like I've just done something that's supposed to be the main event of the season. When it comes to gameplay in the Edge of Fate's campaign, it just kind of felt like you were there and then it was kind of over. Like there wasn't anything fun to do. I'm not somebody who considers myself a person who likes puzzles, but I've even done and participated in some of the puzzles that Destiny has had over the years, which I mean were fun because they weren't as repetitive as it was in the Edge of Fate's campaign. Now, don't get me wrong, I applaud Bungie for giving us a destination that is intricate and goes deeper than the surface level and has a lot of puzzles for us to do and stuff like that. That's fine, all right? That's fine. It's just you can't keep giving us the exact same puzzle over and over and over again. Like that's going to get boring at some point, and then on some level, even though the narrative, which was a strong point of this expansion, might start to suffer because people aren't going to pay attention for long enough to listen to what Lodi or Ikora or Orin are talking about when they're just tired and almost falling asleep mid-mission, which is something that I did, because they're tired of the puzzle mechanic. It was actually really funny to experience something like that. Like I don't remember the last time I fell asleep during a mission, and especially so close to the end. It just felt like it dragged on for too long, and I knew I had to do this on other characters, which I still haven't gotten to yet because I don't want to go through the campaign. Heck, this happened to another person that I was playing with, and we ended up wiping because of it. So like I said before, I'm not going to crap all over Bungie for trying something new. It's just that you can't keep doing the same exact thing after you do something new and wear it out too quick. It's good that you want to break up the monotony of going to location, shooting a bunch of enemies, scanning stuff, going to another location, shooting more enemies, but it then can't be replaced with go to location, shoot enemies, puzzle, more puzzle, shoot even more enemies, update quest step, go to this other side, shoot more enemies, do more puzzles. The campaigns, they just need to have a balance of both is what I'm saying. Like I knew I was tweaking when I thought the campaign for Lightfall, gameplay wise, not narrative wise, but gameplay wise was better than the Edge of Fate's gameplay in the campaign. Because at the very least, we have something that's fun, or more fun than Matter Spark. And even if you want to compare it to another DLC that may or may not be similar to having puzzle mechanics, considering the main big bad of the DLC, the Witch Queen, right? She's known for illusions and puzzles and stuff like that. The Throne World hardly had puzzles, but when it did, they were fun. Discovering things through Deep Sight and using some of the Witch Queen's power in that DLC was fun, and as a result, it's one of the higher rated expansions that Destiny has had. So no, that's just one side of things. Of course, many people have been reporting new bugs or glitches that have appeared in dungeons of old, like duality, or even bugs with this new portal system that they're trying out, which by the way is designed to be infinitely grindable, which is going to be important in a little bit. But recently, Bungie ended up disabling a fun and easy way to get high level gear, that being with the exotic mission Encore, and this is what they had to say about that. We've identified an issue where the Encore mission is substantially easier to complete and dropping higher quantities of rewards than intended with Pinnacle Ops, such as we have disabled Encore with the Pinnacle Ops and the grappler modifier and the portal. We will provide additional details when available. Now the thing is with Pinnacle Ops and the portal itself, Bungie introduced it as a way for new players and old players alike to get onto Destiny and go grind something immediately to get the best gear that they could. And it was partially introduced as a way to remove some of the RNG from drops, because sometimes you would need a helmet to kind of get to that next level, or maybe a pair of boots, and you wouldn't know where you would really get that from, because you can get it from anywhere. You can get it from a blue, you can get it from the campaign, you can get it from anything. But with the portal, you could just hop into an activity that will give you boots and other rewards, and upon completion of the mission itself. Here's the thing about this whole portal thing though. Bungie also intended this for it to be a way that players can get into Destiny and grind the way that they want to. Whatever missions they want to play, they can play them. And whatever loot that they're chasing at the time, they can go get that loot. They never said anything about a weekly rotation, or you can only do this once or a certain number of times before things reset and they don't give you powerful gear anymore. They never said anything like that. Another thing that launched with the Edge of Fate is the new power system, and the fact that Guardians would be reset from 2030 or whatever the cap was last season, all the way down to power level 10 with a cap of like 400. The whole point of these changes was to add more of a grind to the game, because a lot of people have been complaining that Destiny is missing exactly that. There's nothing to grind for, everything is too easy and all this other stuff. And in a lot of ways, I feel like they did accomplish that. It feels like D1 again, or at the very least, it does feel like a start to a new saga. But in preparation for the raid race, which is happening tomorrow on Saturday, a lot of people over the week have been grinding Encore because they found out that that was the fastest way to get to higher levels on their character. And especially with the new exotic scout rifle that can have anti-barrier on it, which is dealing like 3 times the normal damage the primary even should. That, along with the grappler modifier, that was a new feature to Destiny, along with the other boons, which are ways that you can enhance the missions that you're on to get even more rewards. By the way, the grappler mechanic, I believe, made it so that you could literally just swing through the air and go as fast as you could, which players found as a fun and easy alternative to just walking and running everywhere. The bottom line essentially to all of this is that Bungie has been seeing what's been going on for the past 2 days since the launch of Edge of Fate, and they choose now of all times to take away an option for players to grind out their power, even though Bungie already knew that a lot of their player base would no-life the game and go to 400 as fast as they possibly could, especially when a method was available. So if you're someone like me who had already started doing that, but took a break and went to sleep, or maybe you went to work and was looking forward to doing that again to at least get to 200, it starts to create an unfair advantage for players who I guess just didn't want to get off the game at the time, versus players who literally had to because of work or because they were dog tired from the campaign. I really like Mactic's tweet about this. He says, if this was implemented very early on, it would be okay, but doing this 2 days after the community found out about everything kind of feels unfair to those who didn't get to partake, as they are now hundreds of power levels behind those who actually did it. Kind of feels bad for them. Honestly, now I kind of just regret not doing the campaign on my other characters yet, but if you play through the campaign, you might also understand why. I just didn't have the energy, man. However, other than all of that, I do feel like the Edge of Fate so far has been good. I'd rate it a 6 out of 10. The campaign experience gameplay wise kind of brought it down from like a 7.5 for me, but the narrative really good. Lodi, I didn't think I would like the character as much as I do now, but literally his reaction to finding out the collapse happened hundreds of years ago and the Dark Ages happened and that all this time had passed between him being in old Chicago in 1957 or whatever it is and coming to the very, very far future all within an instant. That's literally what you would imagine anybody's reaction to be if they went through the same thing. We also get to find out a little bit more of Ikora Rey's backstory, which for the longest time we'd all been wondering about, and even though if you do read your lore, you'll understand a little bit more about her character, but the lore we got on her in this expansion made her, I guess, more of a character in my eyes. And it's about time she got that character development, because damn, I don't think she's been an actual character maybe ever. When it came to the Vanguard in years past, they really weren't characters. They were just kind of there. Everyone except for Cade, of course, and we got a lot of his lore in the Forsaken DLC. But even before then, he had more of a personality than any of the other Vanguard ever did. So understandably, a lot of people gravitated more towards Cade. Zavala and Ikora were just kind of there, and it wasn't until Season of the Haunted where we learned a little bit more about Zavala's past, and until now, the start of of a new saga, The Edge of Fate, where we learn more about Ikora Rey. Before that, she was just kind of there, and so I'm glad that they actually gave her a little bit more development. And when it comes to exotics, both the new scout rifle and the new hand cannon are really cool. I'm liking them a lot more than I thought I would. But as for the exotic armor pieces, the Titan one seems to be a lot of the community's favorite, and this is because of what Bungie did to the throwing hammer. Apparently when you throw it and it hits something, the bounce that it has makes the hammer sometimes shoot off camera or shoot past your line of sight, so having the recall mechanic with the exotic pretty much making you Thor is really nice. Above all else, I do think that this expansion has potential. We're just going to have to see what happens with Ash and Iron, and then again with Renegades. Two updates that I'm actually really excited for, especially with Renegades because, you know, lightsabers. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Sub up, stay safe, and peace.